Have you ever wielded the gentle force of overlooked power, like David facing Goliath with a mere sling, where mastering the unassuming demands sacrificing bravado for quiet resilience, birthing hope from despair's depths in a timeless battle for identity's subtle triumph? In Episode 6 of The Water Magician, Mizu Zokusei no Mahou Tsukai, released on August 14, 2025, we submerge into such a fluid abyss, the air humming with the distant roar of monstrous threats, the cool mist of water spells kissing your skin like a forbidden elixir, and the shadowy gleam of a black door lurking in the gloom like Pandora's sealed curse. This installment, surging through the early adventuring arc where reincarnated magician Ryo navigates his OP water affinities amid monster-infested realms, unfolds like the epic voyages of Odysseus, where humble tools defy colossal odds, echoing life's underdog odysseys. I personally was struck by its serene intensity, drawing you into the dungeon's echoing chambers where silence amplifies every drip, heart echoing the pulse of hidden perils, suspense flowing like an undercurrent. What if a single door unlocked not just treasures, but your soul's submerged might? Imagine the damp stone under your feet as shadows stir, curiosity surging like a tidal wave. You're not granted the flow, you're swept by it, questioning if your own understated strengths could cascade into legend or drown in oblivion. Episode 6, The Black Door's Whisper, surges from the prior episode's lingering alliances, where Ryo's eternal youth and water prowess forged tentative bonds with adventurer Abel amid grilled celebrations turned grim, now plunging into a dungeon probe that mirrors the perilous quests of Arthurian knights delving into forbidden grails, where glory veiled deadly traps. Key events cascade around a victory feast overshadowed by missing explorers, a guild master's dire summons, and a treacherous descent culminating in a foreboding discovery, blending serene magic with tense explorations. Picture yourself in the cavern's chill embrace, the drip of stalactites echoing like fateful omens in a mythic labyrinth, as transitions deepen from surface camaraderie to subterranean stakes, yet tease riddles. Does a sealed threshold guard salvation or summon ruin? This tight torrent stirs profound intrigue, evoking the encoded maps of Indiana Jones's artifact hunts, where each clue promised fortune or folly, compelling you to dive deeper and discern if whispers herald ascent or abyss. Not the door ajar, but the urge to turn its key, probing your courage against shadowed secrets. Episode 6 masterfully advances the main narrative by pivoting from Ryo's solitary mastery to collective adventuring perils, escalating the Isekai arc stakes with dungeon mysteries that foreshadow broader world threats, setting up Ryo's evolution from reclusive mage to reluctant hero. Key revelations dissect the guild's hidden vulnerabilities, with plot twists detonating in the Black Door's discovery, a ominous portal hinting at ancient curses, while Abel's party faces unforeseen horrors, balanced by a cliffhanger gaze into the void that teases catastrophic unleashing. Pacing flows with deliberate rhythm, serene feast setups build atmospheric dread, accelerating into dungeon dives for dramatic equilibrium, capturing the novel's methodical world-building without stagnation. Addressing fan-inquired, cloudy aspects, such as the Black Door's ambiguous origins, debated for its sudden menace without backstory, and the researcher's role, confusing in their abrupt disappearance. We draw from the source light novel by Tadashi Kubo, Bunko, Volume 1, Chapters 15 to 18. In Chapter 16, the door is revealed as a dimensional rift sealed by ancient fairies, clarifying the anime's shadowy depiction as a faithful adaptation of Ryo's water magic probing its barriers, not random peril but a plot pivot linking to his eternal youth trait from fairy packs. This demystifies fan confusion as intentional mystery, rooted in the novel's lore on Phi's anomalies. Chapter 17 details the researchers as guild-affiliated scholars lured by magic stone lures, providing deeper context where the episode's brevity fosters tension, enriching the animated segment with metaphysical depth and foreshadowing Ryo's pathway to Archmage, delivering researched insight that transforms vague dread into profound setup for interdimensional conflicts. Ryo's psyche ripples with understated depth, his hidden wounds, isolation from eternal youth and past life regrets, motivating a reluctant guardianship that surprises in innovative water spells during crises, his choices consistent in pacifist restraint yet transformative in bonding with Abel, marking growth from lone wanderer to empathetic ally. Abel emerges as a bold counterpart, his motivations of glory-seeking revealing wounds from party losses, dialogue shifting from boastful to grateful, consistent but surprising in vulnerable admissions. The guild master embodies weary authority, his actions transformative in entrusting Ryo, exposing motivations of desperate preservation. Supporting explorers add layered fears, their growth surprising in rallying behind Ryo's calm. Unassuming power manifests as life's subtle current, questioning. In a monster-riddled realm of magic affinities, does wielding overlooked elements demand sacrifice of solitude for survival's flow, or channel hope from despair's stagnation? Ryo's water mastery embodies resilience's quiet force, like the Tao's yielding water eroding rock in ancient philosophy, his struggles sacrificing anonymity for communal bonds. Morality probes the door's allure, where curiosity mirrors existential risks. Does breaching unknowns affirm discovery or amplify chaos? Sacrifice pulses in party perils, countering despair in Ryo's interventions, manifesting resonance on identity's fluidity, echoing stoic adaptability, where embracing the flow pits personal stasis against collective torrent. New lore on dimensional rifts enriches the universe, portraying them as unstable portals birthed from ancient magic wars, complicating affinity rules with contamination risks, adding historical gravitas without overload, heightening the Isekai world's perilous allure. The script flows with poetic subtlety, lines like whispered incantations amid dungeon echoes carrying foreshadowing depth, impactful and resonant like the fateful vows in Beowulf's monster hunts, sharp, subverting cliches through elemental metaphors. Imagine chanting them in cavernous gloom, words rippling like water, tasting of misty anticipation, foreshadowing veils that linger post-credits. They provoke suspense. Does that guarded secret flood alliances or drown them? You're immersed in the current, curiosity cascading like rapids, drawn to decipher if utterances empower or erode. Not sold the stream, but swept by its seductive surge. Typhoon graphics art direction mesmerizes in fluid battles, symbolism in azure water spells contrasting shadowy dungeon blacks, lighting casting rippling reflections that evoke inner depths, not mere spectacle but metaphors for hidden power where stillness in door reveals amplifies mystery, movement in magic flows conveying liberated force that shapes impact as beauty drawn from elemental grace. Camera angles dive into low sweeps for dungeon dread, compositions framing party against black voids like Goya's dark etchings, editing rhythms undulating, slow builds and explorations surging to quick cuts and clashes that mirror emotions, amplifying tension akin to Spielberg's adventurous dives in unknown realms. The OST flows as an aquatic symphony, motifs of dripping crescendos in revelations, burning into memory like a submerged lament. Silence floods tense pauses, louder than roars, elevating unknowns to profound echoes reminiscent of historical dives into mythic caves. Ryo's Siyu, Yuma Uchida, delivers with calm timbre, steady yet rippling in resolve to embody subtle might. Abel's performer infuses bold intensity, capturing adventurous fire. Standouts like the Guild Master's weary depth personify burdened wisdom, intensity forging resonant authority. This episode cascaded tender currents through me, scars from submerged fears and wonder at resilient flows, akin to the poignant voyages in the Odyssey where humble tools defied monstrous fates. It surged a collision of fluid destinies, a breaking point flooding illusions and reshaping paths irrevocably. I tasted the misty hope of water's embrace, heard the fading drip of sealed secrets, moments that immerse, probing eternal queries. When does harnessing the unassuming channel belonging, or drown in isolation? Picture the dungeon's chill enveloping you, curiosity flowing like an undercurrent. Did powers converge, or diverge unseen? The stream deepens your engagement, as if your essences stir, compelling you to embrace the tide. Reverse reading reframes the episode's fluid pacing, critiqued as meandering in setups, as deliberate thematic mimicry of water's natural course, enhancing immersion. Complexity in rift lore risks opacity, yet serves stylistic enigma, inviting reflection on hidden depths. Resolutions feel conveniently serene, a measured critique amid appreciation for magical spectacle, though affinity rules may puzzle. Overall, strengths in emotional current outweigh minor. Have you ever harnessed the quiet fury of an undervalued force, like Joan of Arc channeling divine visions against armored legions, where embracing your innate gifts demands sacrificing complacency for uncharted perils, surging hope from despair's stagnant pools in a perennial quest for identity's fluid mastery? In Episode 7 of The Water Magician, Mizu Zokusei no Mahou Tsukai, released on August 21, 2025, we cascade into such a turbulent current, the air charged with the ozone tang of unleashed spells, the cool rush of water magic tingling on your skin like an awakening river, and the shadowy loom of monstrous threats glinting in the dim like forgotten relics of fate. This chapter, cresting the early Isekai arc where reincarnated mage Ryo navigates his eternal youth and overlooked affinities amid monster-haunted wilds, unfurls like the heroic stands of David versus Goliath, where humble elements defy colossal might, echoing life's underdog epics. I personally was struck by its surging vitality, submerging you into the wilderness where silence amplifies every ripple, heart racing with the thrill of concealed prowess, suspense flowing like an inexorable tide. What if your dormant strength froze the world in awe? Imagine the mist coiling around you as powers awaken, curiosity flooding like a breached dam. You're not bestowed the surge, you're carried by it, questioning if your own unassuming talents could cascade into legend or submerge in oblivion. Episode 7, Frozen in Awe, surges from the prior episode's dungeon whispers and sealed rifts, where Rio's water prowess hinted at greater depths amid monstrous lures, now erupting into a confrontation that mirrors the mythic battles of Beowulf delving into Grendel's lair, where heroes faced beasts in shadowed halls only to unveil their own might. Key events flow around Rio's reluctant display of power, alliances tested against overwhelming foes, and a pivotal revelation that reshapes perceptions, blending serene magic with intense clashes. Feel the chill of encroaching danger seeping into your bones as spells ripple like ancient incantations in a Colosseum's roar, as transitions deepen from exploratory caution to explosive revelations, yet tease enigmas. Does awe-inspiring force unite companions or isolate the wielder? This tight torrent ignites relentless intrigue, evoking the alchemical transmutations in Full Metal Alchemist, where elements bent to will promise glory or grief, compelling you to plunge in and discern if displays drown doubts or drown deeper. Not the power unleashed, but the yearning to witness its wake, probing your mettle against elemental echoes. Episode 7 dynamically advances the main narrative by elevating Rio's understated water magic from subtle utility to overwhelming dominance, propelling the Isekai arc from solitary survival to group adventuring perils, setting the stage for Rio's evolution into a legendary figure, while foreshadowing larger world threats like dimensional anomalies. Key revelations center on Rio's true capabilities during a monster ambush, where his eternal youth trait intertwines with his affinities, while plot twists erupt in the party's stunned reactions and a hidden researcher's cryptic warning about rift contaminations, balanced by a cliffhanger hinting at escalating guild involvements. Pacing achieves a masterful ebb and flow. Deliberate wilderness builds create atmospheric tension, surging into kinetic battles for dramatic equilibrium, capturing the novel's methodical progression without dilution. Addressing fan-inquired, cloudy aspects, such as Rio's sudden power scale, debated for its OP escalation without prior buildup, and the researcher's ambiguous fate, confusing in their off-screen disappearance. We draw from the Source Light novel by Tadashi Kubo, 2 books, Volume 1, Chapters 19 to 22. In Chapter 20, Rio's display is clarified as a controlled water prison spell, rooted in his reincarnated knowledge of physics-enhanced magic, not abrupt overpowering but a strategic reveal of his sage potential from fairy packs. This demystifies the anime's awe moment as intentional contrast to his pacifism. Chapter 21 details the researcher's contamination as mana erosion from rift exposure, providing deeper context where the episode's brevity fosters mystery, enriching the animated segment with metaphysical lore on affinity corruptions and foreshadowing Rio's pathway conflicts, delivering researched insight that transforms perceived inconsistencies into profound setups for interdimensional arcs. Rio's psyche flows with profound subtlety, his hidden wounds, isolation from eternal youth and past, life mundanity, motivating restrained power use that surprises in protective surges, his choices consistent in humility yet transformative in earning party respect, marking growth from reclusive mage to inspirational leader. Abel deepens as a foil, his motivations of glory hunting revealing wounds from past failures, dialogue shifting from skeptical to awestruck, consistent but surprising in forging brotherhood. The guild master embodies cautious authority, his actions transformative in assigning Rio, exposing motivations of desperate reliance. Supporting researchers add tragic layers, their fates surprising in underscoring vulnerability. The party's collective awe surprises in unifying diverse egos, subtle mastery manifests as life's hidden current, questioning. In a fantasy realm of affinities and eternal traits, does wielding unassuming power demand sacrifice of peace for survival's wave, or channel hope from despair's drought? Rio's surge embodies resilience's quiet force, like the Zen parable of water adapting to its vessel, his struggles sacrificing anonymity for communal safeguard. Morality probes the rift's allure, where exploration mirrors existential risks. Does harnessing unknowns affirm progress or amplify chaos? Sacrifice pulses in party bonds, countering despair in Rio's interventions, manifesting resonance on identity's adaptability, echoing Heraclitus's flux, where embracing change pits personal stasis against collective flow. New lore on mana erosion enriches the universe, portraying it as affinity corruptions from rift exposures tied to ancient fairy wars, complicating magic rules with contamination. Mechanics, adding historical mystique without excess, heightening the Isekai world's fluid. Perils, the script ripples with poetic precision, lines like odd gasps amid spells carrying foreshadowing depth, impactful and resonant like the epic vows in the Lord of the Rings Fellowship, sharp, subverting cliches through elemental poetry. Imagine voicing them in cavernous echoes, words flowing like streams, tasting of misty revelation, foreshadowing tides that linger post-credits. They provoke suspense. Does that grateful vow bind fates or break break them. You're immersed in the flow, curiosity surging like a wave, drawn to decipher if utterances empower or engulf. Not sold the ripple, but riveted by its resonant rush. Typhoon Graphics art direction captivates in dynamic surges. Fluidity in water spells where colors shift from tranquil blues to turbulent indigos. Symbolism in rift shadows as encroaching voids. Lighting casting aqueous gleams that evoke inner reserves. Not mere effects but metaphors for latent strength where stillness in awe. Amplifies revelation. Movement in monster clashes conveying chaotic force that shapes impact as beauty drawn from fluid fury. Camera angles cascade into sweeping dives for spell impacts. Compositions framing Rio against monstrous scales like David's sling stance. Editing rhythms title. Slow builds and tension surging to rapid cuts in action that mirror emotions, amplifying tension akin to Cameron's epic dives in abyssal unknowns. The OST flows as a symphonic current, motifs of rippling harps, crescendoing in displays, burning into memory like a siren's call. Silence submerges pre-clash lulls, louder than roars, elevating mysteries to profound echoes reminiscent of historical dives into mythic seas. Ryo's Siyu, Yuma Uchida, delivers with serene timbre, rippling in intensity to embody quiet might. Abel's performer infuses bold awe, capturing humbled fire. Standouts like the Guild Master's grave depth personify burdened wisdom, intensity forging resonant authority. This episode flooded me with surging awe, scars from latent fears and wonder at unleashed flows, akin to the triumphant underdog moments in Rocky where humble training defied giants. It surged a collision of fluid destinies, a breaking point flooding illusions and reshaping bonds irrevocably. I tasted the misty hope of water's embrace, heard the fading roar of subdued threats, moments that immerse, probing eternal queries. When does revealing hidden power liberate the soul, or lure it into deeper currents? Picture the rift's chill enveloping you, curiosity flowing like an undercurrent. Did strengths converge, or diverge unseen? The tide deepens your engagement, as if your essences stir, compelling you to embrace the surge. Reverse reading reframes the episode's surging pacing, critiqued as overwhelming in action, as deliberate thematic mimicry of water's unstoppable flow, enhancing immersion. Complexity in erosion lore risks opacity, yet serves stylistic enigma, inviting reflection on hidden depths. Resolutions feel conveniently triumphant. Watching transcends choice. It's the inexorable current towards self-discovery. Dive into the depths, feel the water's whisper, and let affinities redefine you. What submerged strength awaits your awakening?